Welcome in, everyone, to Lively Lewis Stories.
That's right, we're back with even more awesome adventures with Levi and Ivy.
Set your storytime meter to fun and get ready to join the Lively Lewis crew.
All you need is your imagination and...
Off we go! I can't wait to see where our story takes us today.
Have you ever wanted to get more Lively Lewis in your life?
Well, we've got you covered.
Grab an adult and zoom over to livelylewisshop.com.
Or just click on the link in our show notes.
Enough about that. Let's get to today's super Lively Lewis story.
The year was 2028, and the Olympic Games were the talk of the town where Levi and Ivy lived. This was for all the usual reasons, like marveling over which elite athletes from around the globe would wow the world with their amazing skills. But this year in particular, there was a new piece of Olympic news that had everyone talking, especially kids. "Did you hear what the International Olympic Committee just decided?" asked one of Levi's friends as he sprinted over to the basketball court where Levi was practicing his foul shots. "I didn't," answered Levi. "What's going on?" "They just said that they were opening up the Olympics. Yes, the actual Olympics to kids 16 and under," answered Levi's friend. "They're calling it Junior Olympics, and if you want to try out, you've got about a year to practice." Levi couldn't believe it. It had been his dream for as long as he could remember to participate in the Olympics one day. He thought he would have to wait for years and years. But now, all of a sudden, the chance to compete against the best young athletes in the world was right in front of him. "There's a basketball team, and they'll be holding tryouts as they get closer to the start of the next Olympic Games," said Levi's friend. "You're going to try out, right? You're the best basketball player in town." Levi couldn't answer fast enough. "Of course I am, but if I'm going to have any shot of making the team, I need to get back to my foul shots and make my layups and my three-pointers." Levi practiced all afternoon with the visions of competing in the Junior Olympics rushing through his head. When he got home for lunch, Ivy was doing cartwheels in the front yard, and for someone who didn't have any formal training at gymnastics, she was incredible. "She's got great natural ability," Levi and Ivy's mom would say. "If she just worked with a coach, she could be unstoppable." But Ivy wasn't very competitive. Graceful, elegant on her feet, but not competitive. However, something happened when Levi told her about the Junior Olympics. That's because Ivy loved the Olympics almost as much as Levi. All the grand ceremonies, the focus on the excellence in your sport, the teamwork, and the feeling of pride in representing your country in front of the whole world was definitely something Ivy could get behind. And it didn't hurt that Levi was interested in trying out to be a part of it all. "Wow, do you really think I have a chance?" asked Ivy to Levi. "I definitely think you could if you started taking gymnastics a bit more seriously, joined a gym, and worked with a coach," answered Levi, trying to be encouraging. "It takes a lot of hard work to make it to the Olympics. Look at me. I've been playing basketball forever, and I know I have to work extra hard before I can even think of going to those tryouts next year." Ivy didn't even have to think twice. She ran inside and asked her mom if she could join a gym and start training in gymnastics. "Did someone hear about the Junior Olympics?" giggled her mom with a smile. "Well, I am so glad this happened. I've been telling you for years how much natural ability you have. Add the right training to that, and there'll be no stopping you." "And you too, Levi," said Levi's dad as they both walked into the kitchen overhearing Ivy's conversation with their mom. "Can you even imagine both of our kids competing in Junior Olympics, winning gold, and making everyone in the country so proud?" "Hey, how about doing our best and having fun? And we're proud of you no matter what," laughed Levi. "Of course, all of that too," smiled Levi's dad, who was also a basketball coach. "It's all about having fun, and I can't imagine a more fun experience than competing with other kids from around the world in the sport that you love. Talk about a time you'd never forget. And since you're not on that Junior Olympic team yet, we have some practicing to do. But they do need to eat a healthy lunch first," said Levi and Ivy's mom. "Now go wash up, and after lunch we'll look for gymnastics gyms, and you can go practice basketball." And that's exactly what happened. Ivy and her mom called several different gyms before they found one that was taking new students. It just so happened that the gym Ivy really wanted to get into called them back and let them know that one of their students was moving on to a private trainer, and they had one spot open. And that spot just happened to be coached by a former Olympic gymnast. "This is amazing!" exclaimed Ivy's mom. "You get to meet your new coach tomorrow, and I couldn't be happier for you. She'll have so much amazing insight to pass on to you. I just know it will be the perfect fit. I mean, Who better to train you to get into the Junior Olympics than someone who has been to the Olympics themselves? Ivy was so excited she could hardly sleep that night. Instead, she did back bends, walkovers, handstands, and somersaults until her mom finally made her get in bed. You need your rest, Ivy. Tomorrow may very well be your first step towards the Junior Olympics, said her mom with a smile. And I'm so excited that you wanted to give this a try. And remember, have fun. Thanks, Mom. I know, said Ivy as she yawned and hopped into bed. She dreamt that night about flipping through the air and landing some of the most difficult moves in all of gymnastics. She woke up with a smile on her face and determination in her heart. No one in her hometown, or even close to it, had ever been to the Olympics. So why not change that? After breakfast, Levi and Ivy headed out the door. Levi with his dad to work on jump shots and dribbling drills, and Ivy with her mom to head to the gym. Good luck on the court, Ivy called out to her brother. Good luck on the mats or the rings or beams or flying through the air or walking on your hands. Sorry, Ivy, I'm just not sure what you're going to be doing just yet, said Levi with a giggle. That's okay, neither do I, answered Ivy as she jumped into the car with her mom. She didn't know a lot about it yet, but she was excited to find out what this new world of gymnastics was all about. Once at the gym, Ivy's mom walked her inside to meet her coach. She was so nice and immediately had Ivy show her a few things. Hi, Ivy. I'm Coach Miller. I'm so happy you can join us. I'm going to start off by calling out a few skills, and you show me if you can do them, said her coach. And what happened next left Coach Miller shocked, as Ivy completed every skill that was asked of her with ease and grace. I think we've got some real potential here, said Coach Miller, sounding very excited. Working with me here at the gym during the week, competing in some tournaments on the weekends, keeping up with practice at home, and I think you could have a real shot at making Junior Olympics gymnastics. Is that something you'd like to do, Ivy? Absolutely, exclaimed Ivy as she did a backflip. And from that day on, not a single second went by when Ivy wasn't thinking about gymnastics. What made that even easier was since her parents believed in her so much and wanted her to have every opportunity to succeed, they turned their garage into a mini gym, complete with beams, bars, and tumbling mats. Meanwhile, Levi ramped up his basketball practices and was outside every minute he had working on every aspect of the game. If it was raining out, he wouldn't let that stop him. Instead, he would just use the mini hoop in his room to practice. He would use pretty much anything to practice, like shooting his socks into the dirty clothes hamper, making a layup to throw in his potato chip bag, or pump faking when he went to pass Ivy the fries at dinner time. Wow, Levi, you're getting pretty good at it, Ivy laughed as she got a handful of fries. I know, Dad and I have been working on pump fakes, picks, and pull-up jumpers, said Levi. I'm pretty confident if I keep this up, I'll make the Junior Olympic basketball team. Well, you've got my vote, said Levi's dad. You've been putting in a lot of work, and it shows. You've got my vote too, Levi, said his mom. Mine too, added Ivy. Right back at you, Ivy. I know you'll make the Junior Olympics gymnastics team, said Levi in between his bites of food. Ever since you joined your gym and started training with Coach Miller, you've won the last 3 tournaments you've been in. You're unstoppable. We're so proud of you, Ivy, said her mom and dad. Time continued to pass, and before they knew it, Levi and Ivy were turning in their paperwork to try out for the Junior Olympics. The time they had put in practicing, along with schoolwork and time with friends and family, was a lot. But they knew if they wanted a chance at making it to the Junior Olympics, they had to give it their all. They loved every minute of it, so they knew they were making the right choice. On the first day of tryouts, the line of kids handing in paperwork seemed to be a mile long. Everyone was so excited at the chance to compete in this unique arena. And since it was the first time it had ever happened, people were just curious about it too. All the kids thought, why not give it a try? If they made it, great. And if not, it would be a great experience. And that's exactly what Levi and Ivy's parents told them before they handed in their paperwork. We could not be prouder of both of you, said their parents. No matter what happens from this moment on, we want you to enjoy every second of it. Win or lose, you are both great kids, and even just the experience of trying out for Junior Olympics is going to be one you'll never forget. Go out there and have the best time ever. Levi and Ivy hugged their parents, gave each other a high five, and ran off to find their tryout areas. In the days that followed, Levi and Ivy worked harder than they ever had before. They were tired and a little sore, but they wouldn't have traded it for the world. They made new friends, learned new skills, and through it all, were constantly supported by everyone there. It was like one big family. That's why when the decisions were made regarding who had made the different Junior Olympics team, it was bittersweet. That's because Ivy and Levi each made the teams they were trying out for, but some of their friends didn't, instead being taken on as alternates or used on a practice team. Still a big part of the whole experience, but not exactly where they may have wanted to be. Levi and Ivy were over the moon excited about their accomplishments, and so were their parents. Our 2 kids representing our little hometown in the Junior Olympics? Can you believe it? Exclaimed Levi and Ivy's dad. This is unreal, amazing, beyond belief, and a whole bunch of other things that meant this is the greatest thing that's ever happened to me, cheered Levi. Me too, exclaimed Ivy, giving her brother a hug. They were so proud of each other, but after the celebration quieted down, they were both feeling a little bit bad about their friends who were not as happy as them. Levi and Ivy would find out along this Olympic journey that there would be high points and low points. There would be difficult losses and wonderful victories. They would learn respect, teamwork, and sportsmanship. And no matter what happened, win or lose, they were always each other's biggest fan, and that would never change. Basketball and gymnastics practices started shortly after tryouts ended. After all, they had the Junior Olympics games to prepare for. And if Levi and Ivy thought that they were practicing hard before, they hadn't seen anything yet. That on top of schoolwork, helping at home, and still trying to find time for friends and family was proving to be a lot on both of them. That's why it was important for them to have each other's backs as they went on this Olympic journey together. Levi would always try his best to make Ivy laugh if he saw her getting frustrated with a particular skill. And Ivy always knew what kind of sweet treat would bring Levi out of a bad mood if he wasn't doing well at practice as he would like. I just want to say thank you, said Levi to Ivy as he gobbled up the chocolate candies she gave him one afternoon. I just can't hit my threes today, but this little candy pick-me-up really helped. No need to thank me, Levi. You're always turning my bad moods around too. Like the other day when I just couldn't land the dismount from the rings, started Ivy. Just when I wanted to give up, I looked over and I saw you making funny faces at me from the other end of the gym. I'm glad I could help you as much as you helped me, said Levi. I couldn't imagine doing this without you here. Me either, said Ivy, giving her brother a high five before heading back to practice. And it was an important practice because it would be their last one before the Junior Olympics started in just 3 short days. At that time, they would be jumping on a plane with their parents and flying off to the biggest sports event of their lives. The games would be held in a bustling city, which was happy to call itself the home to the first ever Junior Olympics. It was history in the making, but Levi and Ivy just couldn't believe they were a part of that history. The next day, as Levi and Ivy walked through the airport, their whole town was right along with them, cheering and showing their support through homemade banners and posters. They called out their names and wished them well as they boarded the plane. They said they would be watching from home and they couldn't wait to see the great things they would do. I suppose it would have been easy for Levi and Ivy to be nervous, but they didn't feel that way at all. They had worked so hard to get to where they were, and whatever happened would be all right with them. Of course, they each wanted to win, but the experience of being at the Junior Olympics with so many other athletes was a little bit bigger than wins and losses. Once in the city, Levi and Ivy went to their hotel with their parents and settled in. They met up with their friends who were the alternates on the practice team for each of their sports. They were thrilled to be there as well, and they knew they played an important role in the whole Junior Olympics experience. Ivy's friend Jenny was particularly excited to be there. She had never been to a big city before, never flown in an airplane before, and never stayed in such a huge hotel before. My family mostly goes camping, said Jenny. This hotel is bigger than most of the campsites we go to. Jenny loved gymnastics and had been doing it since she was a toddler. She was so happy for her friend Ivy for making the team, but she really would have loved to have been right there with her. However, she was always supportive and had the best team attitude. She was Ivy's alternate and would step in if Ivy were to ever get hurt. Jenny practiced extra hard to make sure she was ready if needed. Since Ivy was so good, Jenny wanted to make sure she was able to keep up if she ever had to take her place and compete. However, there was one thing that Jenny was better at than Ivy, and that was the rings. It was like she was made for them, and everything she did while on them looked so effortless. After looking around the hotel, having dinner with some of the other athletes, and going to a meet and greet, everyone was ready for bed. The next day, they would see the Junior Olympics facilities where they would be competing. They would also get an opportunity to practice a bit more before opening day. The next day was long and tiring, but so much fun. Levi and Ivy tried to enjoy every minute, knowing the games and the wonderful experience would be over before they knew it. As they walked around the facilities, they both had huge smiles on their faces, as if the magnitude of the whole experience had still not fully sunk in yet. Each Olympic team focused on their sport and worked hard to make sure they were ready for opening day, which at this point was only about 12 hours away. Everyone was so excited that night that they could barely eat dinner, and sleeping was out of the question. The next morning arrived quickly, and the Junior Olympics were ready to begin. Levi and his teammates took the court as the first basketball game. It was an honor, and Levi did an amazing job. He scored 12 points, and his team won the game. Ivy was able to watch from the stands because her gymnastics competition wasn't until later that afternoon. She could have not been prouder of her brother. But she had to get going shortly after the game and to practice a bit more on the rings. She thought maybe Jenny could help her. Ivy was still having trouble sticking the landing at the end of her routine, but she knew she needed to keep trying. Jenny helped all she could before Ivy was up. Ivy's floor routine, followed by her balance beam routine, were up next. She felt nervous until she looked into the crowd and saw Levi and her parents all cheering her on. "Just have fun," she whispered to herself as she took her mark. "Just pretend you're doing cartwheels in the front yard." And thankfully, that little pep talk worked wonders because Ivy posted top scores in both her routines, putting her team in third place. The rings were next, and Ivy knew a perfect score from her would bring her team into second place. She was excited, and because of that, she was not paying attention to her surroundings. As Ivy was walking to her coach, she didn't see her gym bag sitting out in front of her. As she called Coach Miller, she got her foot caught in the strap of her bag and fell over, twisting her ankle in the process. "Oh no, Ivy! Are you okay?" called out Coach Miller when she saw the pained look on Ivy's face. "It's my ankle," said Ivy, holding her ankle and starting to cry. Coach Miller asked the judges for a moment and assessed the situation. She quickly discovered that it wasn't anything too serious, but it wasn't a good idea for Ivy to try and compete on the rings right then. "You need to ice your ankle and stay off of it. If you do that, there's a chance you could participate tomorrow if you wrap it," said Coach Miller. "I'm sorry, Ivy, you did great, but you're done for the day. That means, Jenny, you're up next on rings. You'll have a little while to warm up before competing." Everyone told Jenny what a great job she would do as they saw a look of panic come over her. She knew it was always a possibility that she would have to compete, but she didn't think it would actually happen. "Don't be nervous, Jenny," said Ivy. "I'm so sad that you can't compete," said Jenny. "Don't feel bad for me at all. I feel exactly the opposite for you. I am so thrilled that you get a chance to go out there and show everyone how amazing you are in the rings. You deserve to be out there because you're a Junior Olympian. Now go have some fun. I'll be right here cheering the loudest." Jenny smiled at Ivy and gave her a big hug before running off to warm up. Ivy was so busy talking to Jenny that she didn't notice her parents and Levi standing behind her. "We heard everything you just said, Ivy," began her mom, "and we couldn't be prouder of you. What amazing sportsmanship that was." "Absolutely. You could have been upset about hurting your ankle or mad because Jenny gets to compete on the rings, but you weren't," said Ivy's dad. "Instead, you were encouraging and supportive." "Really proud of you, Ivy," said Levi, "and I know you'll be back out there in no time." Ivy smiled, so happy to have her parents and Levi around her. Then up in the stands, Jenny's parents were cheering extra loud to make sure Jenny knew how excited they were for her. And they had lots to be excited about. Jenny's routine on the rings was flawless and moved her gymnastics team into second place, where they stayed for the rest of the competition. A silver medal finish for Ivy's gymnastics team and a third place finish for Levi's basketball team was not a bad way to end their time at Junior Olympics. The experiences they had, the friends they made, and the values they learned during their time at Junior Olympics were things that Levi and Ivy would take with them for the rest of their lives, along with the knowledge that they made history and paved the way for more Junior Olympians in the future.
Thanks for joining us today. We hope you enjoyed the story and learned a little something too.
And since we know everyone has their own story, we'd love to hear yours.
If you have an idea for a Lively Lewis story, leave a comment on our Apple Podcast review page with 5 stars, your idea, and your little one's name.
Then maybe our next adventure will be with you.
Until our next Storytime Hangout.
Thanks for listening. We can't wait to share another fun Lively Lewis story with you.